Hi, Trent, I see you, and we're all looking forward to being able to pick your brain today. So I just passed you over the controls, buddy.
Hey,
Trent
Dale.
Orr. Hi, Trent. How are you, buddy?
Good. Can you hear me?
Can hear you, can see you have the reimbursement program page up from ForexAnalytix, and great to have you here, especially, when you get these volatile markets and you're, say, for example, an index trader, air pockets. My first question is to you. I'm not sure what you wanted to cover besides having this be question and answer period. Is, in your experience, do you have a handful of brokers that during times of extreme volatility have a track record for not gouging people on fills, and also have great execution under all market conditions?
Yeah, thanks for that, and thanks for having me back on. I think it's been exactly 1 year since the last time I was on the show. So
happy anniversary.
But yeah, to answer your question, at this day and age, with how competitive liquidity and pricing has become, most regulated and reputable brokers are going to be very similar in terms of, I guess, quality of execution and their pricing during extreme volatility. But with that being said, Forex is still an OTC, or over-the-counter product. So it's going to vary a little bit broker to broker, because they are using different LPs and different liquidity providers. But
okay.
the biggest thing to make sure is making sure you're just with a regulated and reputable broker.
Okay, so I asked the community to bring their questions, so go ahead, everyone. Start giving us some questions. Trent, are you familiar with NordFX, and what do you think of them?
I've heard the name. I am not that familiar with that broker, so I wouldn't really want to comment one way or the other.
Okay.
So unfortunately, if that person wants to ping me separately, I can do a bit of research on my end, and we can have a follow-up conversation.
Okay. How many? Rob is asking, how many options do U.S. traders actually have? What is it? 3?
Currently, that's correct. There's 3. There's a 4th player coming in. So right now, there's really 2 that focus on Forex, Oanda, and Gain Capital, or Forex.com. There's a 3rd option that doesn't really focus that much. It's sort of an afterthought. And I've actually had conversations with them. They were going to drop it a few years back before F.A.C.E went out of business, and they decided to just hang on to it. But TD Ameritrade also offers it.
Okay.
But one thing to keep in mind about them is they use Gain Capital as their sole liquidity provider. So effectively, they just STP all the trades to Gain, and they're the ones taking the other side of the trade. There's a 4th player that has filed their paperwork, but who knows if they're going to come or when they're going to come. But IG has filed the paperwork as of last November. So cross your fingers that there's going to be another good option.
Yeah, they're very good. Eric would like to know, is 50-to-1 leverage coming to Australia anytime soon?
We haven't heard anything, so we're pretty tied in with brokers down there and how the regulation that's coming through the pipeline. We have not heard that. The biggest thing that Australia focused on this past year was safety of client funds. So one thing they implemented back in January, and it took effect, I believe, in April, was brokers can no longer use client deposits for margin purposes with their liquidity providers. So prior to January or April of this year, a broker used to be able to take up to 50% of a client deposit and send it to their liquidity providers to basically execute the trades. They took that back, and now the broker has to use their own operating capital to post margins with the LPs. So the biggest thing they're focused on right now is just safety of client funds.
Okay, I have a question. You know, a lot of our community members are pretty entrepreneurial, and they probably, some of them trade more than their own account. They may trade family accounts, so they have, maybe multiple accounts. So is there a solution that you would have so they could just press one button instead of having to go to each individual account to execute trades?
Um, So it depends on the broker. Some brokers offer the multi-terminal through MetaTrader. So it's a
Hmm.
pretty cool platform if your broker offers it. I know like FX Pro offers it. I believe Oanda has it as well, where you can basically log into, I don't know the exact number of accounts. It's 50 or 100. It's a lot. You can log
Hmm.
into multiple accounts at the same time and execute across all of those accounts at the same time. So if you want to place a one lot trade across 4 different accounts, you can click the button and it'll place the trade across those 4 accounts. So instead of having to log in and out of accounts separately and place the trade, you can just do it from there. There's also
Okay.
sort of a hack on MT4 where you can log into multiple instances of MT4 at the same time. So
Oh,
if you have 4 accounts at Oanda, you can have 4 Oanda MT4 platforms pulled up, um,
interesting. I
which
didn't
it's
know
pretty
that.
it's pretty simple. I guess I can just walk through it for those people that are watching. You just pull up your file explorer and you go. Typically, it's in your C drive x86 program files. I get this question all the time, so it's probably good just to go over it. Okay, and then you find your broker that you're trading with. So for example, if I'm trading with Oanda, I would just come and I would open my Oanda folder and I would press Control A as in alpha and Control C as in car. And then what you're doing is you're just copying all these files. And then you go back and then you right click and you go to new folder. Then you can just do Oanda 2 and then just open that up and paste all those files in there. And once it pastes, you can open up 2 Oanda MT4 platforms at the exact same time. So just to put in perspective, if I can do it here real quick. So here in a second, both of those platforms will open up and I can log into 2 separate accounts. So this helps you avoid having to log in and out of accounts. You can just have them both pulled up. Some people just split it in half. When this really comes into play is if you're running multiple EAs. So say you have 2 EAs, like one might be a scalping strategy and one might be a more longer term position style strategy. You can run both of those on the same platform or the same MT4 computer at the same time.
Wow, that's a pearl. Thank you for that tutorial.
Yeah.
I have a question from Eric, and Nick's is pretty similar. Um, from Nick and BR. Do you work with or plan to work with interactive brokers in Europe? And what's your view on interactive brokers?
Yeah, so I think they're a good broker, certainly, and we've definitely tried to work with them in the past. The issue with them is that in order to work together, they require the introducing broker to mark up the spreads, which goes completely against our model. We're trying to lower the cost of traders, not increase the cost. So if they would
Okay.
ever drop that theory and pay us from their marketing budget, we would definitely consider working with them.
Do you have a reimbursement program? Leon would like to know for the broker active trades. Also, do you have any experience or opinion on them? If not, thank you.
We currently do not work with them. My understanding is they're not really working with introducing brokers that much anymore, just due to some of the MiFID II new ESMA regulations coming out. So unfortunately, I don't think that'll be in the pipelines.
Okay. And what about Ally Invest? Or he has Infest. I think that's a typo. I am in USA. Oanda used to allow trading in gold and silver in the US. With the deregulation occurring, will that come back?
So the first one, so Ally is an introducing broker to Gain Capital. So
Okay.
Gain holds your funds, they hold your account. They act in a very similar capacity to Forest Park FX here in the States. yes, there's been some talks about the Dodd-Frank Act getting repealed. Unfortunately, I don't think it will trickle down to us as retail FX traders. It just it's more for banking regulations than anything else. So unless there's a specific clause where they free up margin or free up the ability for clients to go offshore, unless they specifically state it in there, I don't think there'll be much of an impact on the current conditions and products available.
Okay. Any other questions for Trent? I think the people that had things to ask you, you've answered a lot of questions. Okay.
I know there's. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I know there's one thing that we were talking about the other day that had come up previously for you is why somebody would have multiple different accounts.
At different brokers?
Yeah, whether it's at different brokers or if it's at the same broker. So if it's at the same broker, a lot of people will have different accounts for if they have different strategies. So a few moments ago, I mentioned if you have two different EAs, if you have one strategy that's more long term, or if you have one strategy that's more position trading, you might have two accounts, just so those accounts don't interfere. So you can put, if you want to go and put your one trade on that's long Euro USD for the next month, or on a weekly chart, you can put that on, you can minimize it, and then you can go back over to your other account and continue to scalp throughout the day. We used to do a lot on the futures style, because here in the US it's FIFO, first in first out, and that's how the futures market operated as well. So for example, I'll date myself a little bit. Back in 2010, 2011, when gold was really moving around, I wanted to be long gold, but I still scalped gold every single day. So I had two accounts. I went long gold in one of my accounts, just minimized that, got off my screen, and then I still was able to scalp without that position interfering with my overall position for the day.
Wow.
So that's definitely one way, or one reason why somebody would do it.
As you can tell, Trent is an expert in his field, and he really doesn't have any type of agenda except to help you find the best place and make sure that the markets are difficult enough. You don't need to have difficulty with your broker. So, Trent, is there anything else you want to cover, and maybe show people a good, how to get a hold of you personally?
Yeah, so I want to go, and I know Blake was touching on it, and Stelios was touching on it before I jumped on, but I really want to encourage everybody to take advantage of the reimbursement program. We've done a lot of work in implementing it, and worked with ForexAnalytix for a long time. It's a pure value add program. So basically the way it works is if you have an account with us at one of the brokers that's in the list, and we work with some other ones as well. So if you don't see your broker, just send us an email. We'll take a look at it and see if that's a broker we work with that's just not listed for some reason, and see if we can't get your account moved underneath of our group. But the way it works is if you have an account underneath of our group, we effectively will credit your account $1 for every one standard lot you trade. So if say your subscription's $89, which I believe is the tier one cost, if it's $81 and you do 89 lots in a given month, you've effectively paid for your subscription that month simply by doing exactly what you otherwise would be doing, which is just trading. And it's prorated. So if you do $10, you'll get $10 in credits toward your subscription. There's no minimums. There's nothing. It's literally just found money. So I definitely encourage people to take advantage of that. You can just come to the ForexAnalytix website and just go to the reimbursement. It's right at the top. If you have questions or you don't see your broker, I'm on the Skype all day. Just click the button, open a Skype conversation, or just send an email to brokers@forexanalytix.com. Typically pretty quick to respond.
Yeah, I can attest to that. Brent, Trent is always there. If I send him a Skype message, I usually get responses almost immediately.
So yeah, I would definitely take advantage of it. Like I said, it's just pure value add. It's found money. It helps you pay for your subscription, which always benefits. A penny saved is a penny earned.
Okay, I a few more questions have rolled in. What do you think about plus 500?
It's funny. I got this question the other day from on another podcast. I think they're okay. They tend to be more of like a gaming style broker. That's generally who I see getting attracted to there. So people coming from the binary options community, people coming from like online poker, that tends to be who they're marketing towards.
Okay,
I don't really know that many serious traders that go trade there.
all right.
Um, so it might be good if you're a new trader, but once you advance sort of past that new stage of trading, I would start looking for a more, I guess, institutional broker or broker that focuses on forex trading.
Okay, is 101 leverage living on borrowed time offshore?
Is the person in the United States?
I don't know if Rob is from the U.S., but he wants to know if it's a borrowed time, the offshore 100-to-1 leverage.
So if he's in the United States, then yes, 100%. I would recommend him withdraw his money now. And the reason being is the CFTC has been going after these offshore unregulated brokers here recently. The two biggest examples in the past year have been Talinex and JFX. And the issue when that happens is they come in and they freeze the bank accounts, and now all of a sudden he can't get his money out, and now
Oh,
his money is
wow.
locked up in legal litigations.
Like a
Another,
bail.
sorry.
It's like a bail-in.
Yeah. And a good example, and these places might have good reviews right now, but a good example of that is go look at Forex Brokers Inc. So up until like, I think it's May or June of 2016, they had all 5-star reviews. They were great. They were wonderful. And then May of 2016, nobody could get their money out. And now all of a sudden, all their funds are locked up. So even though they have positive reviews right now, if and when the CFTC goes after them, the funds are going to be locked up, and there's just no reason to risk your capital. You work hard for your money.
Were they
You know,
regulated?
no, they were not.
Okay, so
They were
then
offshore as well.
that's really the review, the most important review. Trade with a regulated broker. I'm getting a question from Craig Emmett. Can I link two ICM accounts to get a rebate? Example is one is an MT4 account and the other is a C trader.
Yeah, so you can get rebates on both of those accounts.
Okay, Craig.
I believe his account's underneath of us. Craig, send me an email separately, but I believe you're already a part of the program.
Okay. And on that 100-to-1, he was referring to non-U.S. traders because EU rules are changing on the 100-to-1 leverage.
So yeah, right now, it would depend where he's at. There's still some ASIC regulated brokers that work with European citizens. So IC Markets and Global Prime are two good examples where you still are afforded the regulatory oversight by ASIC, which is one of the stronger ones and throughout the industry that regulates forex.
How about this, Trent? If they're domiciled in Belize, they're probably a sleaze.
That is a good way to think about it. I personally would never put my capital with a Belize regulated broker.
Okay.
I would never recommend any of our clients do it either.
All right. Maybe a good place for vacation, but not for financial security of your funds. So,
Yeah, generally speaking, when you're talking about regulation, like F.C.E. out of the UK, ASIC out of Australia, IROC out of Canada, NFA out of the United States, like these are the major jurisdictions. Once you start steering away from there, there's just not as much oversight, and they don't quite understand the industry as much as these other places do.
Well, I want to thank you for coming in today, Trent, and I want to thank you for being our sponsor. I hope it's working for you. We appreciate your support in F.A.C.E, and I encourage everyone hearing my voice and listen to Trent today. Even if you don't want to make any kind of immediate rash move, I've always believed in life, you make contacts and you get to know somebody sometimes before you really need them. And that way you have a go-to person if an issue ever pops up. So I'm encouraging everyone to call and introduce themselves and tell Trent their story about what they're doing. So thanks again, buddy. I hope you have a great weekend.
Yeah, thanks, Dale. Thanks for having me on. And like you just mentioned, yeah, feel free to contact me. So even if you're not a part of the program or we don't work together, we're always available to help and answer any questions, whether it's platform questions or broker questions. That's what we're here for. Utilize us. We're a free resource.
So if you can't see the forest park from the trees, give Trent a call and you'll see it clearly. And that's my new tagline for you, buddy. And have a great weekend, my trading warrior brother. And thank you, everyone in F.A.C.E, for your support. And great day to sign up. Great day to get a hold of Trent and make a change. I know I'm thinking of changing brokers. I am at TD Ameritrade. And you know what? We just get kind of just so comfortable that we put up with disadvantages. And change is good. So don't resist it. If you have a feeling that you need to do it, do it. You don't have to close the other account right away. But you know, in racehorse, in that business, in the racing industry, you really never know if you have a good horse until you run it against another. So that's my recommendation, and Trent's the guy to steer you to an alternative. Okay, everyone. So have a great weekend. Enjoy college football, pro football. Don't forget to smell the roses, do your homework, have your plan for next week ready so that you're executing rather than analyzing on the fly. And most of all, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. What happened to the Peter Goodburn interview, Scott? Peter was here yesterday and it's on our YouTube channel. So everyone have a great weekend and we'll see you Monday. Adios, and thanks again, Trent.
Yeah, thanks, Dale. Thanks, guys.
All right, buddy. See ya.